What's up, Tailgaters? My name is Tailgate Nate. Welcome back to my channel. And today I'm going to be reviewing Week 6 for the Big Ten Conference. This week was a pretty slow week, but there were a lot of really tight games this week. A lot of games that just were very close. I don't think a game was decided by more than 10 points this week, well, except for one of them. But the games were pretty close this week, so pretty exciting week to watch. But this week did see not one but two games canceled. And the first game that was canceled was the Minnesota Golden Gophers against the Wisconsin Badgers. This means that Wisconsin is no longer eligible for the Big Ten championship game, while Minnesota sees their first canceled game this year. I don't know if the Big Ten is going to change the rule about letting a team into the Big Ten championship game because they haven't played a certain number of games. You'll see that with the next team that got games canceled, but we hope both these teams can get back onto the field next week. As far as Minnesota, they were the ones dealing with COVID problems, so hopefully they can get back on. But Wisconsin's got a big one next week that I'm sure college football fans will not want to miss. And the second game that was canceled was the Ohio State Buckeyes and Illinois Fighting Illini due to positive cases within the Ohio State program. Now, Ohio State cannot afford to lose another game as of right now. They are still eligible for the Big Ten championship game, but just can't lose another game due to COVID because of the rule that the Big Ten has come out and said you need to play at least 6 games to be eligible for the championship game, which I don't like that rule. I don't think they ever should have said anything like that. Again, the Big Ten has just done a horrible job handling all of this, but the Ohio State Buckeyes cannot afford to lose another game. They got Michigan State and Michigan, and then the Big Ten championship game left if they could make it there. So hope both these teams can get back onto the field next week. Let's see what games did get played this week. And we start with the Battle of the Black Backgrounds. The Nebraska Cornhuskers and the Iowa Hawkeyes faced off this weekend. It was probably, in my opinion, one of the better games that Nebraska's played this season. I know people are going to point to the Penn State game, but this was a really good game for Nebraska as well. But they just fell short to the Iowa Hawkeyes. Your final score was 26-20, and it was Keith Duncan's field goal kicking that made the difference in this game. He went 4 of 5 on field goals, 2 for 2 on extra points, in a game that Nebraska actually outgained Iowa only by about 16 yards, but it felt like a lot more. Nebraska wasn't turning the ball over. They were very clean. Adrian Martinez did end up being the starter and played pretty well. Didn't throw a touchdown pass, but had a rushing touchdown, only threw 2 incompletions, no interceptions. Martinez had himself a pretty good day, but Iowa does what they do best with Tyler Goodson running on the ground, and Amir Smith-Marset got involved with a touchdown pass as well. All in all, a very, very entertaining game to watch. It came down to just late mistakes from Nebraska. I just said they weren't turning the football over. Well, they turned the football over twice late in the game, 2 fumbles, and that is what ended up costing Nebraska an upset win here. The Iowa Hawkeyes improved to 4-2. Well, the Maryland Terrapins just couldn't get anything going against Michael Penix and the Indiana Hoosiers. Hoosiers won 27-11 as they improved to 5-1. Talia played pretty well in this game. Well, not really. I shouldn't say that. Talia played well for a little bit in this game later down the stretch, but for the most part, just not a very great performance. Threw 3 picks, 241 yards, and had more incompletions than completions in this game, which you never want. I should say Dante Demas was the player who was absolutely fantastic in this game for Maryland. 6 catches, 114 yards, and a touchdown, but it was penalty after penalty after penalty that killed Maryland in this game. 8 penalties for 85 yards. When you look at the Indiana Hoosiers, they finally figured out how to run the ball. 106 yards for Tim Baldwin. Stevie Scott had 80 yards, but 3 rushing touchdowns. Indiana's defense also had a safety in this game, and Michael Penix actually went down with an injury in the third quarter. He was off this entire game. He just couldn't find a receiver to throw to. No player had more than 3 catches. No player had more than 2 catches or more than 40 yards. Michael Penix, then he went down with an injury in the late third quarter, I do believe. All the injury report said it was his left leg. I have not read anything up on it otherwise, but hope Michael Penix can get back on the field. He has absolutely emerged this year as a true leader for this Indiana team, and Indiana was still able to come away with a win because of their rushing attack, but Michael Penix does fuel that offense. Hope he can get back on the field, but Maryland, again, the defense has just got to clean up, and the offense was not as explosive in this game as it probably should have been. Indiana gets the win. Penn State has finally ended this dreadful winless season. They finally get a win against the Michigan Wolverines, 27-17. Cade McNamara was the primary quarterback in this game for Michigan, and he just did not play well. Hassan Haskins played really well for the Wolverines, but he was the only player for the Wolverines that was able to get in the end zone, as Michigan was outgained 417-286. Sean Clifford was the starting quarterback for Penn State. He went 17-28 for 163 yards, and on the ground, 9 carries for 73 yards, and a touchdown is Kevon Lee. My apologies. 22 carries, 134 yards, and touchdowns. Parker Washington had almost 100 yards receiving as well. This was probably one of the better games I've seen Penn State play this season. Just all around, they were able to dominate the Wolverines offensively, defensively. They were shutting down the Wolverines in every facet, just couldn't stop Hassan Haskins for some reason. But other than that, Penn State finally gets a win, and they finally get in that win column. That has to feel good, right? To get in the win column. Your final score is 27-17. I don't have much more to say about this game. It was just an absolutely great performance by Penn State and a poor performance by Michigan. How about this for a shocker? The Northwestern Wildcats see their undefeated season come to an end as the quote-unquote Fighting Reese Davises, sorry, Northwestern, don't at me, lose to the Michigan State Spartans 29-20. And this was a game that Michigan State just controlled. Rocky Lombardi, again, not the best completion percentage or yardage, but did have 2 touchdowns and did carry a lot on the ground as well, as did Connor Hayward, had 96 yards, and Jalen Naylor was one of the receivers who caught a touchdown pass from Rocky Lombardi, as Michigan State was 10 for 21 on third down. Again, this usually is an offense that just turns the football over left and right, but they find a way to pull it together like they did in the Michigan game, and they get a win against a top 10 team in Northwestern, in my opinion, who definitely are going to drop after this week, maybe lower top 20, I don't know. But Peyton Ramsey, just you could feel he wasn't on this game, and a team that runs the ball a lot. Northwestern didn't really run the ball that much in this game and didn't have a lot of success. And this is where Michigan State's defense really showed up. Michigan State has a solid defense. They showed up in this game, and it's where the lack of offense, if you're Northwestern, really does worry me as a Big Ten fan, and also I think should worry Wildcats fans. But Riley Lee's got a touchdown pass. The defense did not have a sack for Northwestern, so the defense didn't have an impact. The offense wasn't scoring points. You're not going to win a game if none of those things, or if both those things happen. They had 4 turnovers as well, with 2 fumbles and 2 picks. So just a very sloppy performance from Northwestern allowed Michigan State to pull off the upset when your final score was 29-20. Northwestern still on pace to play in that Big Ten championship game, but now they have a loss for it. And I don't know that the college football playoff is going to be a thing that Northwestern is going to be able to reach. A weird nightcap for Big Ten football as the Rutgers Scarlet Knights and Purdue Boilermakers started this game at 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, and Purdue was controlling this game for pretty much its entirety until the very end. Rutgers was able to pull away 37-30 and get their second win of the season. Now, it's not that Purdue played bad. Both of these teams played an absolutely great game. I did not get to watch the end of the game. I was actually out with friends doing something, but I did watch highlights and reruns and all that good stuff, and Rutgers just played that last quarter better. That last quarter really did shift things in favor of Rutgers, and you see it reflected in the final score. This was a very, very close and exciting game. However, both sides played well. I'm not going to really call out any particular player just because everyone played well. I will call out Shameen Jones. It seems like Rutgers. I will call out Artur Sitkowski. There we go. There was no Noah Vedral in this game. He was a game-time decision, and Greg Schiano decided not to play him. So Artur Sitkowski was the starting quarterback, and he came in and played pretty well. So did Johnny Langan, actually, threw a couple passes as well, and was Rutgers' leading rusher. Over here, over here on the Purdue side, Rondo Moore, David Bell did play really well, but it was all Rutgers late in this game, and a very, very good game to watch if you are a Big Ten fan. But the last quarter just shifted in Rutgers' favor. They come out with another win in the Big Ten, and I think Rutgers is just getting better. So what do these scores reflect on the standings? Actually, not a whole lot. If you look at the standings here, there are only a couple switches. So the top three stay the same, and the bottom two stay the same in each division. But it's the middle two. I'm talking about Minnesota, Purdue, and Michigan State, Michigan. They just got flipped. That's all that really happened to the standings. As of right now, Northwestern is still on pace for the Big Ten championship game because they do have the tiebreaker over Iowa. They would have to lose their last two games, which I do not see happening. And for Ohio State, they are still on pace, but they cannot afford to lose another game. Otherwise, as per the Big Ten rules, it would go to Indiana. But anyway, guys, that is going to do it for my week review. Sorry, I know this was a shorter video, but there just was not a whole lot of action this week in the Big Ten. Not a whole lot of exciting action, at least, in my opinion, and also more games did get canceled. But thank you guys so much for watching. Anyway, if you enjoyed, please leave a like. Also consider subscribing if you are brand new to the channel, or you just enjoy my content, and turn on notification bells so you do not miss an upload, so you can join Tailgate Nation. Also, do two things for me. Leave a comment down below. Tell me your thoughts on this week in the Big Ten. You can also tell me your thoughts on this video, and share this video with everyone you know. I'm trying to grow the channel as big as possible, so it would mean a lot if you could share this video with everyone you know who likes Big Ten football or college football in general as much as you and me. Remember to play hard, but tailgate harder. I'll see all you guys in my next video. Goodbye.